They're dead, Dave.
What, Captain Hollister?
Everybody's dead, Dave.
What, Todd Hunter? What, Selby? Not Jen.
He's dead, Dave. Everybody is dead. Everybody is dead, Dave.
Hello, welcome to Everybody is Dead, Dave, the Red Dwarf review podcast where I, Phil Hawkins, a long-time fan of the show, and my co-host Adam Martyn, the relative newbie, go through every episode of the show in order.
That's right.
And we are back for Back to Earth Part 3.
Yes.
I just realised I've written on my notes Back in the Red. That's a whole different
That's
three-parter.
a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, I wrote the wrong thing on my notes, but it's definitely Back to Earth Part 3.
It is definitely Back to Earth. Yes.
We're up to the sort of not the penultimate, the final of this trilogy return to the show.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's be honest, we haven't thought that favourably of the first two episodes in this.
I think, am I right in saying, for me, I found part 2 better than part 1? And for you,
yes.
Did you rank it the same, or did you think part 2
I
was
went
worse?
slightly less for part 2.
That's
I thought it was slightly worse. Will we think this is even worse? Let's find out.
Let's do it.
So we start with Starbug, or Carbug, should we say.
Yes.
Because they are in the Red Dwarf Fan Appreciation Society's leader's car, which is in the shape of Starbug. It's a smart car. And they're coming into Coronation Street.
Yeah, which is the last thing I think I'd imagine even in 2009, that was the last thing any Red Dwarf fan expected.
Well, yeah, given this is a BBC and Dave being mostly owned by the BBC production, and Coronation Street being an ITV production.
Yes.
That's quite a, good collaboration between the two, in the sense that you wouldn't necessarily expect it to happen.
No, a rare bit of collaboration, really, as well, from the two. Especially the fact that ITV were willing to lend over their biggest program as well. It's not just any other show.
I'm assuming it wasn't out of the goodness of their hearts, and it's probably some money exchanged hands. But but it's still nice to see the kind of cooperation going on there. But sort of a tangent, but it reminds me of how I felt when I was watching the recent Chippendale Rescue Rangers movie,
yes.
When you saw loads of characters from studios that weren't Disney in it, and I was like, it's nice that they've interacted with those and willing to do that. Different companies aren't just no, they're the enemy, we
won't give them anything. We won't give them anything unless you give us a bit of money. Then we'll.
So that's
then we'll
nice.
talk.
As they're coming in to park, they go through a Starbug landing procedure. I'm curious what you thought about this.
I found it really awkward.
Yeah.
I think partly the fact that, as we've mentioned in part 1 and 2, there's no studio audience, so it's not that. But I think just the way it's done in general, just quite bluntly, for me at least, it's not funny.
Yeah.
I don't find it. What did you think? Did you like it, or?
I'm going to use one of your classic phrases. It definitely went on too long.
Yeah.
It's I kind of got where they were going, and I thought, when they started to do it, I was like, yeah, they're okay. I didn't actually laugh. I didn't find it massively funny, but I kind of got. But then they just kept on going.
Yes.
And going.
And going.
Oh, by the way, listeners at home, if I sound a bit croaky, it's because I'm recovering from a cold, so I do apologise on your ears.
Your lovely dulcet tones.
Yeah.
You needn't worry. You needn't worry.
So why are they in Coronation Street then? Why are they there?
That is a good. Well, they're looking to find. Well, this is the thing, because they said, in the last episode, they said they were going to find the boss, or the big boss. They went to Mr. Was it Swallows, the nose guy? They went to his, and he said only the big boss knows that. And I don't think they insinuated it was Craig Charles, but that's why they're here, isn't it? They're looking for Craig Charles.
I think they are going to, the gist is that they're going to Craig Charles to find out how to find the big boss.
I see. Now,
because of course, Craig Charles at this point in 2009 was working on Coronation Street, was a regular on Coronation Street. So that is why they're there.
That clicks with me later on when we get to that scene, but I didn't know that going in. So to me, I think the whole going, that makes sense then. So I guess going to Corrie, a lot of Red Dwarf fans at the time were like, oh, I know what they're going to do here. But see, for me, not knowing that, I was a bit like, okay, why? We're just in Coronation Street now for for no reason. So,
yeah,
okay.
because I was wondering if you knew that, because obviously at the end of the last episode there was when we first saw the reveal. The cliffhanger was them arriving on Coronation Street, and I didn't want to probe into whether or not you knew what was happening then, because I thought it might be a spoiler, and clearly it was, because so you had no idea that Craig Charles was ever in Coronation Street.
Not a smidge. I had no idea he was ever in it. But hey, I learned something new today. Although, we said the whole car bug stuff wasn't really funny. What I did find more funny was the Crichton chatting with the information droid, as he calls it. That was a bit more humorous.
The postbox, who he mistakes as a droid. Yeah, that was quite funny, I must admit. Yeah. They get some strange looks from some of the regular Corrie cast members as well. So they interact with, as well as Craig Charles in a bit, they also interact with a couple of other regular Corrie cast, and I can't remember any of their names now.
I know one of them is Michelle Keegan, the woman in the shop.
Yes, that's the actress's name, isn't it? I can't remember her character name.
Yeah, I only knew that when we got to the credits. Like, seeing the other characters, I was like, I'm guessing you're Corrie regulars, but having never seen a single episode of Coronation Street, it's all... That was the only thing I thought going into it, because I didn't know how long we were going to be in like in Coronation Street. So I thought, okay, if we're going hard on like Corrie references, it's gonna go completely over my head, because I've not even seen. I get it wouldn't be for a lot, because it is quite popular, and I'm sure a lot of people who watched it will have known, at least at that time, like who those characters were. But for me, I was like, no, don't know who you are.
The one that gives them a strange look from across the road, that's a character called Steve, I think, who in the show, him and Craig Charles's character were like best friends. So that kind of tracks with how they interact. He interacts with Craig Charles later as well, and that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. I must admit, just for the whole time they are in Corrie, I feel like the references aren't too heavy that people like me can't follow what's going on. Like, I get they're there for those who reckon. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't. It didn't ruin it for me. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Kat, Crichton, and Rimmer go into the shop, and that's where they meet Michelle Keegan's character.
Yeah.
And just the thing that I took away from this was the accents. They all try a Manchester accent.
They do, with very, very interesting results.
Very interesting results. How do you feel? Because, you're from up that part of the world.
See, there were I feel Chris Barry, bless him, got away with it a bit because of... I got the impression he was sending it up intentionally.
Yeah.
Like, the way Danny John Jules, not so much, arguably. That just... I felt I was a bit like, okay, all right, mate. But... Oh yeah, so I was a bit mixed on it, really. And, we've all seen it, like, the Northerners sound like, let's do the most stereotype. So, it's something I've seen a lot of in my life, so I think I'm a bit numb to it now. I'm just like, okay, we're doing the Northern stereotype. But yeah, it wasn't horrific, though. It's not the worst I've seen, like, of that. So I was, mixed for me.
I felt it was a little bit cringe, but Chris Barry, like you say, he is good at accents, just generally. He's good at impersonations and things. So I think he, like you say, did kind of pull it off the best.
Yeah.
And the other two were a bit more cringy, I think.
Yeah, but thankfully it doesn't go on for too long. It does the jokes and then they get out. They don't linger. Yeah. So I was like, fair enough.
They go into the Rover's Return, whichever, whatever.
Rover's Return, I think it is. The pub.
They go to the pub where Craig Charles is. Craig Charles has had a conversation with the guy that plays Steve, and he's kind of warned them that his castmates are there from Red Dwarf. And then they come in. Initially, Craig Charles presumably thinks it's Robert Llewellyn, Chris Barry, and who's Cat? Who plays Cat?
Danny John Jules.
Yeah. Went blank there for a second. He thinks it's them until then Lister comes in and he basically is confronted with himself.
And it was quite nice. I think Craig Charles did a good job of the scene, like obviously bouncing between himself and Lister. I thought that seemed quite natural.
Yeah, I quite liked just seeing them interact. That was interesting. Like I said before that I like meta stuff, but I don't think this show has done it very well in these 3 parts.
Sure,
but I appreciated what they were going for here, and I quite liked seeing Craig Charles interact with Lister.
Yeah. I feel it carried off better perhaps than it did in part 2 for a lot of the meta stuff.
Yeah.
I feel this one felt a bit better executed. We get a little Blade Runner reference again. Cat puts down the little gold thing, just very casually. Nothing more said. It just puts it down. But the next scene is like what we cut straight to like the city of London.
Yes, they're very different. So we were debating this last episode or the episode before. That we were talking about, have they come into our world?
Yeah.
Well, quite clearly, this is not our world because there is not a giant pyramid in London in our world.
No, there isn't. I'll give you that. But unless I missed it, like at the end of does Craig Charles tell them where to go, or do they just end up there? Because I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember in my head how the scene in the pub ended. Because I know they talk, they're talking about we're looking for our creator and that sort of stuff. But I don't, and people in the comments, if I missed it, fair enough, I'll hold my hands up. But I don't remember Craig Charles explicitly saying to them, you will find him in London do you know what I mean? They just, the scene just sort of ends and then it's like, right, now we're in London and now we're going in this giant, do you know, it just feels very like, okay, so why did we come to Coronation Street then? Like, if Craig Charles isn't going to explicitly tell them this is where you have to go, they just seemingly know. So then what was the point of going to see Craig Charles? Maybe when we eventually get around to the director's cut, maybe there might be a little extra. Maybe. But yeah, to me at least, it just felt very much like, right, we're in Corrie, we're chatting with Craig Charles. Now we're in London in a giant pyramid, and it's like, whoa, hang on. How did we get here? But hey, as I say, listeners, if I just blatantly forgot or missed something, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, I just don't remember it, film. I don't remember any link.
No, I don't either, to be honest. So maybe there wasn't. Or maybe we're just forgetting. Who knows?
Maybe.
But they go to this pyramid and they to find the creator. They find him. And he's never given a name. So we don't know if he's Doug Naylor or if he's Grant.
Rob Grant. Is it Rob Grant? Yeah.
Rob Grant. Or if he's presumably in this fictional real world, he's a different creator. I think probably that.
Yeah. See, I wondered till the end because I don't actually know, despite having done this podcast with you for a year, I don't actually know what Doug Naylor or Rob Grant look like. I've not seen any pictures of them. So when this person appeared, I was like, okay, to my mind, I was like, could this be one of them?
Oh, well, you mean actually played by them?
Yeah. I was thinking, could this be... Because Doug Naylor was the one who stayed more involved, didn't he, after the partnership sort of went a bit sour. So in my head, for a minute, I was like, okay, could this be... It's not. It's an actor called Richard O'Callaghan, I found in the credits. And he's just... I think his bill is just creator. But I did think, I was like, I don't know what Doug Naylor looks like, so I was like, this could be... Could this be he? Could this be the man himself? But alas, it was not. But yeah, very interesting character. I've got to say, he's got very snazzy bullets engraved with the characters' names. And those, what are his guards? His guards creep me out.
His guards are like, I took this as a reference because they are basically the Munchkin Rimmers from the Rimmer song in Blue.
Yeah. But I don't know. It was terrifying. It took me aback at first. For the first second, I thought it was people wearing like Rimmer cardboard cutout masks. Then when they started speaking, I was like, oh my god, they've CG'd it onto these people, and the CG looks a little ropey in places, but to me at least, anyway. But yeah, it creeped me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Nice reference, but yeah, a little creepy.
Yeah, definitely. So it's their creator that wants to sort of kill them, basically. He grew wary of them, as he says.
Yes, yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know if... I can't... when Naylor and Grant split, I don't know if that was Grant's reason for leaving, or...
I don't know.
Who knows?
I'm not sure. If you know the inside story, let us know in the comments below.
Yes.
There's a really strange joke, I thought, or... I don't even know if it was a joke, but it was about... it was about fractions and the light that burns half as strongly burns half as bright, and then somebody else goes, but the light that burns 3/4, and then it's like, this is hurting my head. I don't really want to be thinking about maths to do a joke.
I must admit, I didn't laugh. I was like, you've lost me here. And I don't mind maths, but I was like, nah, you've gone past the point for me here. So yeah, that lost me a little bit too.
I did quite like that the bit where they start trying to, because he's their creator, he's going to kill them. He's decided the show's going to end, so they start pitching spin-off ideas to him.
Yes,
I quite like that.
Yeah.
Rimmer pitches he says, "Oh, what about a sitcom?" And then Lister says, "Oh, me and Crichton could have a spin-off where we're thrown back in time and we have to say." Like desperation trying to pitch like all these bizarre, ridiculous spin-offs to him.
Yeah. No, I liked it. Like, it was a nice sign of like desperation, like that they want to cling on. And I thought it actually worked. The jokes worked really well. So yeah, points there.
Then he starts chasing them and then firing on them. There's this kind of action scene through a very Blade Runner-esque type environment. This kind of a set that must be within the pyramid somewhere. And then
see, I like this bit though.
Okay.
I really the chase scene, if you like. I thought it was shot really well. It was edited really well. It was scored really well. I really liked the music they had behind it. And even though, as you say, it's revealed to just be, this is what I'm planning on, as in the creator saying this is how it's going to be. There was something quite haunting about seeing them, shot face down in the fake snow. I thought it was quite well done. I'd guessed in my head, I was like, this probably is like a dream or, But no, I quite liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
Well, my note on it that I wrote was bad action scene, bad slow-mo.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah, I'll give you that. The slow-mo was a bit exaggerated. I thought they might have been doing that just for like the comedy's sake, but the actual like pacing of it, and I don't know, I just liked it.
No,
it surprised me. It did surprise me.
But it is revealed to just be the creator explaining what he's going to write or has written.
Yes,
and it hasn't actually happened yet.
I don't know if that whole action shot is meant to be, because there's a line shortly after regarding the whole Blade Runner thing. Mm-hmm. How Blade Runner was a influence for Red Dwarf's creation, which I don't know if that's true. I'm guessing that's true. Or like, I mean,
possibly
it's Red Dwarf. Who knows what's true anymore? But yeah. So I wonder. Again, I've not seen Blade Runner. So someone in the comments might have to help me out. But I don't know if the action scene we saw where they get shot is maybe referencing something similar in Blade Runner, like if a similar sort of like crashing through glass, falling on the.
I can't remember.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if that action scene is in some way lifted from Blade Runner, because it wouldn't surprise me if it was.
We get a Rachel the Inflatable Doll reference.
We do. Never thought I'd hear her again.
Because Rimmer is complaining about how his creator has made him the butt of the joke all the time. Is all the times you made reference to Rachel the Inflatable Doll and my puncture repair kit.
And he wants to get a girlfriend who, after he sleeps with, doesn't turn out to be his long-lost sister.
Oh, yes, because they get hold of a gun. They get hold of the gun, and they're basically holding him hostage and make him go over to the typewriter and start typing. And they're, like, saying what their demands are. So that's one of Rimmer's demands. It's, you've got to give me a girlfriend and blah, 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 blah. But he gets the gun back, and then there's a bit of a tussle.
Bit of a scrap.
Yeah. And then Lister kills him.
Yeah, which obviously at first this seems very left field for Lister, because as he quite rightly says afterwards, I don't kill people. And it felt I liked what Lister was saying as he was doing it, about, lusting for life and stuff. But I thought the way in which he was killing him felt a little stilted. It didn't feel like he was actually doing anything aside from just holding his head in a
yes.
Do you know what I mean?
How did he kill him? Like, did he squash his head? I mean,
well, if he was doing that, there was nothing to suggest that was. It looked like he was just holding his head in a really weird way. But yeah, that was strange. But of course, I guess it gets revealed that he did that because that's what the creator wrote, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so. And then Lister takes over on the typewriter, thinking he can write their own, happy ending to it all. Makes Rimmer do a silly dance.
Yes.
And hit his groin repeatedly on the table corner.
Yes.
And then he makes Crichton do a lot of standing on, the old standing on a rake, and it comes up and hits you, and then you turn around. Basically the joke from that Simpsons episode. Yeah.
With Sideshow Bob, yeah. But this goes on and on and on. And do you know what? The idea of Lister having the power to create their future, I think is a great idea. But I just think, yes, and before anyone says, yes, Red Dwarf is a comedy comes first, but I thought it's quite, he's just given the creator that little serious talk about, what life means to him and how he wants more of it and all that sort of stuff. I just thought you could have played this scene out a bit more, I hate saying it, but like, a bit more seriously or a bit more straight.
Yeah.
Like talking about how big of a moment this is, like all the potential things he could write, or like that he could get back for, him or the others. And instead we just get treated to a really like silly, I'm going to make Rimmer smash his groin against a table. Do you know what I mean? It just feels like it's a weird shift, because then all of a sudden we're back to, right, we've got to be, we've got to play it serious now.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I thought anyway. I didn't really like it.
But when they start doing stuff that Lister hasn't written, they realise that maybe it's not the typewriter that's controlling them. Maybe it's their own subconsciousness. And that's when, finally, we find out what these origami things that Cat has been leaving everywhere throughout these 3 episodes have been about. He takes one, and they blow into it, and it turns into sort of a little model of a squid.
Yes.
And then we get the reveal that the squid that they fought in the beginning was the same race as the despair squid from all those years ago.
I was going to say, long time.
Yeah, long time ago. And that's why they're in a kind of hallucination. They realize they're in a hallucination. Yeah.
And they question at this point, but, if it's a despair squid, why are they all, why are they in a world like this where they have a fan club and they're beloved? It doesn't seem like despair, but we'll come to that later. When they have that reveal, though, I love the little chat that Crichton and Lister have, where Crichton reveals to him that, Kachansky in their world didn't die, that she just dumped him. I quite liked it, because he's, Lister sort of insinuating that rather than wake up from this subconscious thing they're in, he'd rather stay in this world and find the Kachansky that, that loves him or whatever.
Yeah.
And despite Crichton's efforts to, he's come clean with him, he's saying it's not really his world. I don't know. I really liked it. I thought the performances were solid. They didn't really play it much for laughs either. They just focused on like, how big of a deal it was. I really liked it. Like the style.
Yeah. And the others return to reality, but Lister is going, stays to find the Kachansky of this imaginary world. And he finds her. And we get Chloe Annette back as Kachansky.
Great to see her.
It is great to see her. And we get this actually lovely scene between the two of them, I thought. With this really heartfelt conversation between them. You can actually generally see like the emotion on Lister's face. It feels like it's a really kind of poignant moment in amongst a lot of slapstick. And I think it works really well. She asks him, in your dreams, did you kiss me? And then he says, I never wanted to wake up. Then she says, then don't. And that whole bit, I loved. It's the first time in this whole 3 episode thing that I've been like, this is a really good scene.
Yeah, see, I really liked it as well. And like you say, Craig Charles, man, as a performer, like he's not just a comedian. He can do the more like serious. I mean, I think we've been saying it. Well, in the moments he gets in this 3-part, like you had the scene where he's at a grave in part 1. I really liked that.
Yeah.
And you had the scene on the bus in part 2 when the kids are chatting with him. I thought that was... I like that. I wouldn't want Lister to have these moments like all the time, because obviously this isn't a drama, it's a comedy. But I don't mind every now and then like having a scene or two here and there where he is allowed to not just be the butt of a joke or be a slob or, anything like that. He can just be human and have emotions and feel. It's great. Loved it. And I love the realization he has, because again, without saying it, you can clearly tell when he just before he gets out of Starbug that he's sort of changed his mind. It's hard to describe, but you can just see it on his face. It's a sign of good acting, I think. If a performer doesn't have to always explicitly say what they're thinking to convey it, then I think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah. And then the fake Kachansky tries to convince him to stay and tells her, because he's going to go off and he's decided he's going to find the real Kachansky. Now he knows she's alive.
Yeah.
But she tells him, you never have a chance with her. Stay with me instead.
Yeah.
But he's going to go.
It's like the embodiment of temptation, isn't it? Being like, no, don't do that. Stay with me. Take the easy path. All that sort of stuff.
Yeah. And then, so he wakes up. Yeah.
He does. We're back in regular Red Dwarf territory.
And that's when we get the full reveal of the despair squid, and that it's not a despair squid, it's a joy squid because it's a female of the species.
It is.
And they stop being, they defend against being attacked by inducing joy, whereas the male does it by inducing despair.
We get a very cheap joke about female drivers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I was a bit like, wow. I was like, it's 2009, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was quick, but I couldn't help but notice it and note it down. I was like, come on, man. Like, it's... Anyway.
Yeah. And then we get another callback with the revelation of how this squid got on board. We find out Cat got it on board back when they were on that water planet where they found the despair squid. And we get a little callback to the "I'm gonna eat you, little fishy" song.
Yes,
that he
I like
likes
that.
to sing.
He does.
That was nice.
Much to the annoyance of everyone else, who basically realizing that Cat allowed this squid to get on board. But yeah, nice little bit of. Talk about bringing back loose continuity. But hey, Red, how many times has this show done this now?
Yeah,
where it'll take like the thinnest shred of continuity and just be like, yeah. We'll expand on that compared to like massive plot points where they're just like, no, we're never going to talk about this again.
Yeah. Now, according to Crichton, because they imagined this world, that world now exists in the multiverse, which I didn't quite understand how that works. But
he was talking about quantum mechanics, wasn't he? Like every time was he implying like every time we dream or something that
it creates another universe? I don't know, maybe.
Multiverse 101 according to Crichton.
I'm not sure it particularly holds up well, but yeah, we can let it off for that. The science of a Red Dwarf, is not something that you expect to be strong.
You need to get Brian Cox, get him to analyze that. He did science of Doctor Who. Get him to do science of Red Dwarf. It'd probably blow his mind. What did you think of this last little gag and ending then? 'Cause it's something about what would they do if they see us on TV. Oh, they'd laugh or something like that. What's the gag?
I assume that they, in their heads, they're not in a comedy. So, but I suppose the gag is that if they would laugh, they would think it's a comedy, and we do. We're watching Red Dwarf. Yeah.
And then they just, and then it just sort of ends.
And it ends. Yeah.
It felt I didn't like that ending because they do the thing of they'd laugh and then they laugh, and it felt like the most stereotypical sitcom ending ever where someone's like, here's a joke, and everyone's like ha 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 ha, and cut to roll. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't exactly like that, but it felt like that, and I was like, no, I was like, that doesn't fit Red Dwarf in my opinion. It felt very undercooked. It felt very okay, we're done, as Red Dwarf has done sometimes. But considering this is meant to be like a 3-part thing, even if they did ended it with them being in like the control room and Lister being like, right, we're going to find Kachansky, let's go. And the cliffhangers them go, like the end of, was it series 4 or 5, where that was the ending? It's like, we've got to, wasn't it we're going to find Red Dwarf? Or like, we're going to go
something
out.
Something like that, yeah.
Might have been series 5. One of those finales where the ending was literally, let's go and find Red Dwarf. And that was it. And it worked. Even if they'd done something like that, that would have been cool. But I don't know, it just seemed, to me at least, it felt very underwhelming of an ending. I don't know about you, but...
Yeah. Now, there was a bit that I remembered being in this that it didn't come up on the DVD. And I don't know if it's because maybe it was a post-credit scene and I didn't stay to the end or something. But I remember there being another scene with Kachansky, just like a little thing at the end. From when I watched this originally in 2009. Okay. Just where... She then she drives into shot in a car and then drives off again. Although maybe that's from a different episode. I don't know. Let us know in the comments if you remember that, because I'm sure that was in something, but I can't remember what it was.
Maybe it's hiding in the director's cut. Who
maybe,
knows?
But I wouldn't have seen the director's cut on TV. It would have been this version. So
that's true. So
don't know what I'm remembering there. But I'm sure, maybe I made it up in my head. Maybe it didn't happen. Maybe I dreamt
what
it.
They call it, the Mandela effect.
Yeah,
where you clearly remember something, yet it wasn't there. Yeah.
That's
back to Earth then, I guess.
Yeah. So we have our regular features. Favorite character and funniest moment. Yes. Who's your favorite character?
He's done it. He's got the hat trick. It's Lister. For the reason, as I said, he gets to do a bit more than just do the comedy. I felt some of it. I like the stuff where he interacts with Craig Charles, if you like, and some of the stuff with the creator I quite like the stuff he says to him. I just thought he had the best lines. Like, he had the best things to say, and he felt very much like the focus. The others did a great job, but I don't know if you felt this. Compared to Lister, they sort of felt a lot more background in this special.
Okay. Yeah.
To me, at least, anyway. They just felt like they were there, but this felt more like Lister's story more than anything. But hey, for that reason, that's why I'm giving it to him, because I think he did a great job. So yeah, hat trick for Lister. What about yourself?
I am also going to give it to Lister, which is the first time I've done it this series. But I think he's got those lovely heartfelt moments, and he deserves it. Yeah. He had some nice moments in the other ones. I just gave it to other people. But yeah. So yeah, I'm going to give it to Lister as well.
Nice.
Funniest moment?
Funniest moment. It's it's an early joke, but it's the information droid, the postbox stuff. I just really liked it. I thought Robert Llewellyn, as usual, did some great physical comedy. His interactions, the jokes were actually well written. It didn't feel awkward like the car bug stuff just before it, and it's the bit that made me chuckle the most. So yeah, I'm going to give it to the good old postbox scene. What about you?
I really struggled because I didn't really find much of it funny at all. The postbox stuff was good, I must admit. And I also had down maybe the stuff between Craig Charles and Lister. It's kind of funny, but even that was. I'm gonna give it to that, but nothing was massively funny in this episode.
It didn't grab you. Quite grab you.
No, if we were talking about great moments rather than funny moments, I would have picked the episode, the bit near the end between Kachansky and Lister. That was a great scene, but it's not a funny scene, so I can't pick this. What about score? How many scutters out of 10?
It's on for me. It's the same score I gave to part 2, which is a 6 out of 10.
Okay.
I really wanted this to be the one I enjoyed the most, because as I said, I enjoyed part 2 more than part 1, and I really hoped it would just push that little bit further, but it didn't. It just sort of say I enjoyed it more than part 1, but yeah, about the same as part 2. So I feel like this whole special, really, there's some nice ideas. Like some really nice ideas, but they either don't go anywhere or they're just blighted by other things that don't need to be there for me. So yeah, 6 out of 10, sort of definitely in the bottom chunk of like a ranking list for sure. But yeah. What about you?
I'm going to give this, what did I give the previous ones? I think I gave a 5 to the first part, 4 to the second part. I'm going in the middle here. I'm going to say 4.5. It was better. I found it better than the second part, but worse than the first part. I think.
So you like part 1 the most, and I like part 1 the least. That's interesting. Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah, that was. I just think there was so much. Like, some of the Coronation Street stuff was okay, but it was only okay. I didn't like really any of the at the creators.
Did you not?
No,
none of it. No,
none of it really. And then I did like the scenes, the Kachansky stuff at the end. That was nice. But overall, I think, which is why I think it's that brings it above last week's part 2. That those scenes with Kachansky I liked. So it's. I think overall we can say that Back to Earth isn't our favourite.
I can imagine for fans like yourself, after a 10-year drought, that this wasn't the return to form everyone was hoping for.
No,
I'm gathering.
No. I've just seen something on the trivia section just about Chloe Annette that I just found quite interesting. This was Chloe Annette's first acting job since 2002. So
really?
Yeah, so she'd had like a 7-year gap of not acting.
I wonder why that was.
Yeah, between presumably when... what was she in before that? She was in an episode of Doctors. No, Doctors. That was the last thing she was in before this in 2002. And then... she hasn't done that much since, actually. She's been in a few single episodes of things, but the last thing she's got on IMDb was 2014, so maybe she's retired from acting.
Yeah, maybe a change of career. I mean, it's like, first time, it's a hard industry. Like, you take a beating from it, but people leave for all sorts of reasons, really. And no shame to any of them.
I would love to see her back. This was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is a bit of a spoiler for you, but this was her last appearance. So.
Oh, no. That's gutting.
I was going to.
Well, I'll be curious to see. No spoilers for this. I'll be curious to see if they recast again, because of course that wouldn't be the first time. As much as we've grown to love Chloe Annette, I keep forgetting she's not the original Kachansky, if you like. So, no, I'm curious whether to see she appears again.
Claire Gorgon, is that her name? Gorgon? No, not Gorgon.
Possibly.
Yeah, you know it.
The gal out of Altered Images.
Yeah. Well, there we go. That's Back to Earth done. I think this was the run of episodes I was most dreading looking back at.
Really?
And just wondering if it would hold up, and it doesn't. But never mind. But we've got series 10 next to go on to. Yes. So that's going to be
which is a
exciting.
Traditional TV series in the
traditional
sense that it's
6
episodes. Yeah.
All different stories every episode. So sort of back to the sort of more standard format for Red Dwarf.
Yes.
Let's see if it improves on this.
Fingers crossed.
Right. So where can we find everything? We've got a Twitter account. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at All Dead Dave Pod.
Certainly is.
You've got a Twitter account?
I do. It's Adam Martyn AMTV for all my daily ramblings and wares. And you've got a Twitter account, Phil.
I do. It's at Culture Filter with filter spelled Philter.
You see what he did there?
Yeah.
See what he did there? It's good, that.
Yeah. We've also got YouTube channels.
We do. Mine's, again, just my name, Adam Martyn. You can give me a subscribe there. Drop us a like on some videos if you want to. And you do as well, as you say, Phil.
Yeah. Also just my name, Philip Hawkins, and one L in Philip. And you can, I've got videos. This podcast goes up there, but also videos about Doctor Who, Star Trek, MCU, basically any geeky pop culture I like. So do check that out. Yeah. We'll be back. We might do a few more special episodes before we head into Series 10. So,
we shall.
Just to delve into, we've got another book to do, if we can finish reading it in time.
And, that's right.
And a few other things that we might do some specials on, and then we'll launch into the proper Dave era.
Oh yes, with Series 10. Will it hold up? Well, I'm very excited for the Dave era to start properly, Phil.
Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. Well, we'll see you soon. Thank you for listening.
See you later.
Bye.